Good morning, dear students. I'm Arun Adhikari, once again back with Social Studies Class 8. Today is Unit 4, Lesson 2, Human Rights. Before we start with human rights, actually we enter into today's topic. Let's know what is right. How do you define rights? Right is a claim which is given to you or rewarded or awarded to you or provided to you after fulfilling certain obligations for your socio-economic and political fulfillment or betterment. These rights are provided to you. That is called right, Adhikar. Now, human right. You may ask now, sir, what is human right? Human right in simple language, you can say those rights which are provided or given to human being a human for the overall development of individual is called human rights. I hope you understood the right. In class 7 last year you must have studied about the fundamental rights. Those are also rights. And what are the basic differences between fundamental right and human right? In the course of time, when I start the lesson, I will inform you the differences between fundamental right and human right. So first of all, you must know what is human right. Look at the slide, please. What is human right? Human rights are the basic rights and freedom that belongs to every person in the world from birth until death. That means human rights are basic rights, the fundamental rights and freedom which is awarded to human being for being a human from birth to death. That is human right. They apply regardless of where you are from, what you believe, or how you choose to live your life. That means fundamental rights are regardless. Suppose you go to America from Nepal, your human right remain intact everywhere. That is universal. It won't get changed. And who you are, what do you believe, what is your political background, what is your family background, what is your color of your skin, which caste you belongs to, it doesn't matter. It matters you are a human being and the basic rights you must get, that is human right. They can never be taken away, although they can sometimes be restricted. For example, if a person breaks the law or in the interest of national security. That means human beings are unviolable, they cannot be violated. That means they cannot be snatched from a person until in one condition. Which condition? Suppose a person breaks a law, a person violates a law. That means suppose a person involved in fighting, okay, law must punish the person for violating the law. In that case, it will get violated, restricted, put restriction on the human rights. But in other case, if a person is not involved in any illegal, immoral, or anti-humanitarian law cases, on that ground, the law, that means or the human rights cannot be violated. Once again, look at the slide. Next is, those basic rights are based on shared values like dignity, fairness, equality, respect, and independence. That means those rights. Last time in last class or next week I taught you about social rules. As I told you while going through the lesson, the social rules are based on the norms and values of society, democratic values, equality. I told you same thing. These basic rights are based on shared values like dignity of a person, identity of a person, fairness, equality, it is based on equality, respect, and independence. Next, these values are defined and protected by law. That means law protects those rights given to an individual. Suppose you go to America, and someone okay, violates your rights, snatch your rights, that time the American law will punish the person who has violated or snatched your right or has created any disturbance while enjoying your right. That means, in the other sense, the human rights are protected with law, national law, international law. Okay, there are lots of conventions and international understanding regarding the free and fair following of the human rights. So there are lots of laws regarding the implementation of human rights globally. So these laws protects the human rights. Next slide, please. Now, initiation of human rights. How human rights came into being used. That means how human rights originated in this world. Okay, for that we have to go back to nearly 70 and more years. Okay, let's go to the 1948 AD. 1948 AD, Eleanor Roosevelt, the then First Lady of USA. That means First Lady means the wife of US President is termed as First Lady. Eleanor Roosevelt, President Roosevelt's wife, the then President of United States of America, was the first person to introduce the concept of human right internationally. How these human rights came into use, came into being? Okay, there is a story behind this. From 1914 to 1919, there was First World War. From 1939 to 1945, Second World War. This Second World War turned millions of children orphan. They lost their families, and people's rights were snatched. There was economic crisis. People were starving. Various deadly diseases were there. So there was no any rights and protection to those faithful persons. So Eleanor Roosevelt, the then First Lady, the wife of then President of USA, took the initiative to launch such a framework, such a mechanism globally, so that the basic rights being a human is not violated anywhere a person goes, in any country, in any corner of the world. So Eleanor Roosevelt initiated this. Now look at the book slide again. In her initiation, the UNO, United Nations Organization, issued the Universal Declaration of Human Rights on 10 December 1948 AD. That means UDHR, Universal Declaration of Human Rights by UNO. UNO declared a resolution. Resolution means prastab. Where it declared Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Universal means everywhere, in any part of the world. Every part of the world, this human rights is universal. That means wherever you go, you are going through with your human right. On 10th of December 1948, the UNO also declared human right as the universal right. That is why every year on 10th of December, we celebrate or we observe this day as International Human Rights Day. Now, this was the background how these human rights came into being used. Now look at the next slide. In context of Nepal, in Nepal also human right is there. Every country has the mechanism to implement those human rights granted by the UNO or UDHR. So in context of Nepal, what are the things are there? National Human Right Commission, in Nepali it is Rashtriya Manav Adhikar Ayog, is an autonomous means self-governed, self-ruled, it takes decisions self, autonomous body to monitor human rights in Nepal. That means which is the organ of Nepal to watch human right or watchdog of human right in Nepal is NHRC. That means National Human Right Commission is the autonomous body to monitor the status of human right in Nepal. It was established in the year 2057 BS. It was established on 2057 BS or 2000 AD. The interim constitution of Nepal 2063 provisioned it as constitutional body. Okay. Constitutional body, you might not be familiar with the word constitutional body. Constitutional body means the organ or body or any organization, any commission, any particular office which is created by or provision in the constitution itself is called constitutional body, Samvidhanik Ayog. Okay. Constitutional body, and the continuous constitution of Nepal continued it as constitutional organ too. That means the interim constitution of 2063 declared, okay, National Human Rights Commission as constitutional body. In the same way, in the same line, the constitution of Nepal, that means the present constitution also has declared or kept or provision National Human Rights Commission as constitutional body. Constitutional body have more powers. They are autonomous. Their do's and do nots, what their rights and their powers are clearly mentioned in the constitution itself. That is why it is called constitutional body or constitutional organ. Now, in the very beginning, I told you the basic differences between human right and fundamental rights. In class 7 last year, you studied about the fundamental rights, and the Constitution of Nepal has provision 31 fundamental rights for Nepalese citizen. Now look at the board please. The Constitution of Nepal, Part 3, Article 16 to 46. Okay. Part 3 of the Constitution of Nepal, Article 16 to 46, there are provision of 31 fundamental rights for Nepalese citizen. Fundamental rights. Fundamental means basic rights. The basic rights guaranteed by the Constitution to its citizens for their all-round development or overall development is called fundamental rights. So, where is the provision for fundamental rights in Nepalese Constitution? Part 3, Article 16 to Article 46, there are 31 fundamental rights guaranteed or promised to Nepalese citizen. These are fundamental rights you might have learned, okay, I am sure, not might have, you must have learned in class 7. Now, you may the question may arise in your mind, so what is the differences between fundamental rights and human rights? Okay, there is differences between, okay, some basic differences between fundamental rights and human rights. Okay, this is fundamental right. I'm writing FR, that means fundamental rights, and here is human rights, fundamental rights and human rights. So, fundamental rights in one country, it differs from one country to another country. One country to another country, it differs. Say how? Okay. Suppose we have right to freedom or right to religion. Okay, this is, we have 10 different religions in our country, and we are free to choose and profess our religion without any disturbance or without any restrictions. So, this is what our right, fundamental right given to every Nepalese citizen. But same thing may not be available, this right is not available for the people living, the citizen of Saudi Arabia, since it is Islamic nation. So, there is no any other religions provision in the Constitution of Saudi Arabia. May be differ, okay, may people, the citizen of Saudi Arab may not choose another religion, may not get the chance to or provision or rights to choose the other religion. That is the basic differences. That means fundamental rights differs from one country to another country. That means it vary from country to country. Next, human right is universal. universal. Whatever the rights you are getting as human being in Nepal, same rights you will enjoy when you go to Canada, when you go to Sri Lanka, when you go to India, when you go to China, because you are a human being and these rights are protected throughout the globe as a human, and you will get the basic rights until you break the law. If you break the law, national law, and when you go to Canada and you break the national law, obviously you will be punished. But without doing anything, your fundamental right, human right cannot be violated. If somebody tries to do, you get the legal protection regarding or against the violation or snatching of your basic rights. So most of the fundamental rights are derived, okay, are taken from the human rights, like freedom, okay, right to freedom. We have, okay, this right, fundamental rights in our constitution has guaranteed us our one fundamental right, right to freedom. In Nepali it is, okay, itself स्वतन्त्रता को अधिकार. Using this right, we are free to form any group, form our union, form open political party, to move from one place to another place. We are free. And same thing here is also, right to freedom is also there in human right. That means right to freedom is in human right, and in fundamental right it is derived from the human right. That means most of the fundamental rights are derived from human rights. That is some basic differences. And you please do one thing, you search on the internet what are the other differences between human right and fundamental rights. Now without being delay, let's move to next slide. Look at the slide. How many articles in international human rights? Okay, how many articles are there in international human rights? In international human rights, okay, UDHR, that means in Universal Declaration of Human Rights, there are 30 articles. There are 30 articles. So there are 30 articles in Universal Declaration of Human Rights. They are article number 1. In article number 1, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity. That means every human being is free from the birth and equal in dignity from the birth. That means every human being has its own identity and freedom, liberty. Nobody can confine him or her by tying or putting some restriction without any reason. So every human being is equal and having equal dignity from the birth till death. That means nobody is allowed to discriminate a person on any ground. This also reflects equality in dignity. In Article 2, Article 2 says no one can be discriminated on any ground. That means there shall not be any discrimination. As you know, in our country, people are being discriminated on the basis of caste. That's caste system, right? Untouchability. There is discrimination between gender, male and female. There is discrimination between rich and poor. Okay, such discrimination is not acceptable in human right, by human rights as well as our fundamental rights. Our fundamental rights also says, okay, nobody shall be discriminated on any ground. None of the ground is of a person is, okay, liable to discriminated. None of the ground means caste, creed, sex, religion, color, okay, political ideology. In any ground, nobody can be discriminated. So it is an illegal thing or illegal activity or anti-social element. Article 3 says everyone has the right to live a secure life. That means everybody have a right to live a secure life. Secure means what? Secure means protected. Nobody have the, everybody have the right to live in a very protected life, having secure, having the no feeling of any fear, no any disturbance. In the same way, Article 4 of the human rights says no one should be held in slavery or servitude. That means nobody should be held in slavery. Slavery means das, okay, or servitude. Forcefully, nobody should be kept as a das or worker or in service. And similarly, Article 5 says no one should be subjected to torture or to cruel punishment. Cruel means having very severe punishment, having no heart, no mercy. Such punishment is banned by international human rights. No one should be subjected to torture or to cruel punishment. Next says, Article 6 says, the rights are equal for everyone, everywhere. That means, as I told you, the human rights are universal in nature. Universal, wherever you go, the rights remain same. So, rights are equal for everyone, everywhere. Wherever you go, you have right. Nobody can snatch your right. Nobody can violate your right until you do a mistake or break the law. Everyone is equal before the law. Next article says everyone is equal before the law. Okay. That means the law should be implemented equally. Everyone is equal. There is no person who is above the law, and there is no other person, people, okay, who is below the law. There is no such class where law have to be implemented strictly upon those class, and there is no such class, okay, where law doesn't punish on violation of some laws. So, that means what? Everyone is equal before the law, and its implementation will never see who is the person. It only sees what he or she has done. Next article says law guarantees the protection of the rights. As I told you earlier, there is a law to protect the human right. That means the law has guaranteed the protection of these rights. Next slide. Next article says no one can be imprisoned or exiled from the country without a valid reason. That means no one can be taken out of the exile from the country. Exile means to chase away from the country. Excuse me. Without a valid reason. Next article says everyone has the right to legal treatment. That means everyone has the right to legal treatment. It means that everyone have the access to get legal advice, legal service. If anyone is accused of any matter, that means a person can get the chance to hire a lawyer. That is called legal treatment. That means everybody has the right to legal treatment. Nobody can be deprived of legal treatment. Next article says everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Suppose I am being accused of theft. That means I am accused of theft, but court has not proved that, okay, I am a thief. Till that time I am innocent. No one can tell, okay, no one can call me I am a thief. मलाई चोर भन्न पाइदैन कहिलेसम्म, when until then the court proved that yes, the Mr. Arun Adhikari has stolen this thing, so you are being punished for being to doing or breaking the law. Then only I am guilty. But until I am proven guilty by the court, I am innocent. Nobody can accuse me, okay, or accuse me of that particular crime until I am proven guilty by the court of law. Next article says everyone has the right to privacy. In our fundamental rights, we have right to privacy. Right to privacy means what? Legal things. Suppose somebody asks you without any reason, without illegally of your, okay, how much money you have in your bank, show me. No, you cannot. You should not. Why? Because you have right. Because law has protected you from by giving this right of maintaining privacy. And privacy, while maintaining privacy, you have total right to claim or report to the authority against the violation of your rights. If somebody pressurizes you, that is right to privacy. But sometimes what happened, yes, it went in the breaking of law. Suppose a person has done corruption, as I already taught you corruption lesson also, that is why I am connecting these things with the corruption. Suppose you have done corruption and the authority has got permission to investigate how much money you have, how much property you have. That time, if they get a valid paper, okay, in search papers, if they get and they come to you, okay, Mr. So and so, okay, show me your property, how much bank balance you have, how much gold you have, how much land you have in your name. That time we have to show, because the law is asking us to show your property. That time this right to privacy doesn't work, okay, for investigation. But in other matters, okay, somebody comes and asks me, okay, how much money you have in bank, I won't tell you. Why should I tell you? Who are you? Okay, you can ask like this. Okay, if somebody forces you or somebody pressurizes you to show your bank balance, that time you can go to the legal way also. That means you can file an FIR in the court or in the police, and you can go to the authority. So, and when authority comes, okay, taking the permission to investigate upon your wealth, how much money you have in the bank, how much money you have in the bank, then that time you must have to show. You cannot deny that things. Now next slide, next point is everyone has the right to freedom of movement and residence within a country. Okay, we also have, as I told you, we have right to freedom. I told you, right to freedom. Right to freedom, it doesn't mean that you can do anything whatever you like, but it means right to freedom, being in discipline, being in a boundary. You can do whatever the law has guaranteed you to do. For example, suppose I am from Chitwan, okay, I can move to Kathmandu and buy property and I stay here, okay, I can reside here, okay, it is legal way. But suppose I am from Chitwan and I have gone to Kathmandu and I have entered forcefully to another other's house and I captured it and I still living. No, that is not the way. That means it has to be legal. You will not be barred to roam around the country with valid reason. But if you are doing illegal things, okay, which you are breaking the law, that means obviously you will be restricted to move. But when you are legal, you are doing nothing wrong, then nobody will bar you to roam around the country to go from one place to another place. So with this, okay, I have given some of the articles only. In your textbook there are 30 articles. Please go through those articles in detail. The questions may come from this lesson, okay, for long questions as well. So go through all the articles of human rights. There are 30 articles. Some of the articles only I have explained you due to the time constraints. So please go through your textbook, read it precisely and enjoy the lesson. And this is very interesting lesson because it is directly related with us. It is related with you, it is related with me, related with your neighbors, related with your community, related with your neighbors. So it is very interesting lesson. Please go through all the articles of human rights. So with this is the end of today's class. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.